All right, let's get right into it. Today, we're taking a deep dive into what might just be the biggest new rival for the Tesla Model Y. It's called the Sealion 7, and it comes from the Chinese auto giant BYD. And that brings us to the huge question that the auto experts at What Car are asking. Are we at a point where China is actually making the best electric SUVs you can buy? I mean, that's a massive claim, and it's putting all the established players on high alert. And look, let's be clear, this is not just another electric vehicle hitting the market. The review we're drawing from calls this BYD's most important car yet. So why the big deal? Well, because it's aimed squarely at the best-selling car in the entire world. The stakes just don't get any higher than that. So here's how we're going to break it all down for you. First, we'll talk about this new challenger. Then we'll try to decode BYD's lineup, which can be kind of confusing. After that, it's all about the core tech, battery, range, charging, before we jump inside to look at practicality and the interior. And finally, we'll talk about the drive and get to the final verdict. Okay, let's kick things off. The Sealion 7 is a fully electric family SUV. That puts it in a direct head-to-head battle with the Tesla Model Y. This is an incredibly ambitious move, aiming right for the top of the food chain from day one. Now, before we get any further, we really need to clear something up. BYD's list of car models can be, well, let's just say it's a little tricky to follow. So let's figure out where this Sealion 7 actually fits into the picture. Okay, so here's the deal. BYD has this marine theme going on. You've got the Dolphin, a small hatchback, and the Seal, their sedan that goes up against the Tesla Model 3. Now, you might see the Seal U and think, aha, that's the SUV version of the Seal. Nope, it's not. It's a completely different car, a plug-in hybrid. The one we're talking about today, the Sealion 7, that is the true SUV version of the Seal sedan. It also sits above their other electric SUV, the Atto 3, which, yeah, isn't named after an animal at all. So, now that we've untangled that, we know exactly what we're looking at. All right, with the family tree sorted out, let's get to the real heart of any EV, the tech. This is where the showdown with Tesla really heats up. You know, the Sealion 7 range is actually pretty easy to understand. There are three main flavors. You've got the entry-level comfort model, which is rear-wheel drive. Then there's the design model, which adds a motor up front for all-wheel drive, but keeps the same 82.5 kilowatt-hour battery. And at the very top, you have the Excellence model. It's also all-wheel drive, but it gets a bigger 91.3 kilowatt-hour battery.
Now, what's really fascinating here is the battery tech itself. BYD actually makes its own batteries, and they use something called lithium iron phosphate, or LFP. These things have some huge pluses. They're way more stable, which means they're safer, and they're cobalt-free, which is a big ethical win. But there's always a trade-off, right? And for LFP batteries, that trade-off is weight. They have to be heavier to hold the same amount of charge.
And this slide right here, this shows you exactly what that trade-off looks like in the real world. The Sealion 7 is a heavy car, tipping the scales between 2.2 and 2.5 tons, and that extra weight directly hits its range, which maxes out at an official 311 miles. Now compare that to an entry-level Model Y. It weighs less than 2 tons and has an official range of 373 miles. So the choice is crystal clear. You get the safer, cobalt-free LFP battery, but you do sacrifice a pretty significant chunk of range. But what about plugging it in? How fast does it charge? Well, here, the Sealion 7 gets a small win back. The top-of-the-line Excellence model can juice up from 10 to 80% in just 24 minutes, assuming perfect conditions. That's actually a little quicker than a Model Y, which usually takes around 27 minutes. The other Sealion 7 models are a bit slower, coming in at about 32 minutes. Okay, so on the tech specs, it's a bit of a back and forth. But now we're moving into an area where, according to the review, the Sealion 7 really starts to shine. And that's all about the experience you have inside the car.
And that starts right up front, under the hood. You know how a lot of EVs have a tiny bit of space there? Well, the Sealion 7 gives you a whole 58 liters of storage. And the reviewer makes it clear this isn't just some tiny cubby, it's genuinely useful space. We're talking big enough to easily swallow a carry-on suitcase.
And that focus on practicality is everywhere. You get a big 520-liter trunk in the back, a totally flat floor in the rear, which is fantastic for anyone stuck in the middle seat, and I'm quoting here, absolutely loads of rear knee room. The seats are also apparently more supportive than what you find in the Model Y. And here's the kicker. Heated and ventilated front seats come as standard. That is a seriously premium feature. But maybe the single biggest compliment from the source is all about the overall quality. The reviewer says, and I quote, interior quality is really impressive. Certainly a notch above the Tesla Model Y. From the nice materials to the solid way everything is put together, this is where the Sealion 7 is clearly trying to feel like a more luxurious car.
So, it's practical. It feels premium inside. But what's it like to actually drive? And maybe most importantly, what's it going to cost? Let's get into our final section and put all these pieces together for the final verdict.
Once you're on the move, the Sealion 7's true personality comes out. Sure, it's really fast in a straight line, but it is not trying to be some super sporty, agile SUV. The main focus here is overwhelmingly on comfort and quiet. The steering is light, and the review points out there's very little wind or road noise, partly thanks to special laminated side windows. It's a quiet, comfortable cruiser, which is a big contrast to the more performance-oriented feel of its biggest rival.
And now we come to the final and maybe most critical piece of this whole puzzle, the price tag. Now, it wasn't officially confirmed when the review was written, but it's expected to start at around £45,000. And here's the bottom line. For all that comfort and premium feel, it's very likely going to be cheaper than even the most basic Tesla Model Y.
So let's wrap this all up. What is the BYD Sealion 7, really? First, on the road, it's a comfortable and quiet cruiser, not a sports car. Second, that interior is a real standout. It's practical, it's roomy, and it feels a step above its main competitor. And third, the price is super competitive, which makes it a really strong value. The review even calls it BYD's best effort yet.
Which really leaves us with this one big question. The choice between these two EV titans seems to boil down to a simple trade-off. What matters more to you? Are you willing to sacrifice some range to get an interior that's more practical, more comfortable, and feels more luxurious? That's the real calculation that buyers are going to have to make.